Kia ora, good evening. The closure of the Impulsed Legal Highs outlet in South Invercargill is pleasing to Invercargill City Councillor Lindsay Thomas, but he believes that the Ministry of Health should have acted earlier. Councillor Thomas is a member of a committee currently seeking public submissions towards a region-wide policy on psychoactive substances. Also working on that policy is Southland District Council's Group Manager, Environment and Community, Bruce Halligan. Hunter Andrews asked both men for their thoughts on the policy-making process.
We're going to write a policy, but that won't stop the public from venting to central government that they may want it banned. They may even make an election issue, and I think that would be a high priority. But what all the three councillors are charged with doing is implementing our policy and putting that policy in place. And I suppose it's better to have some rules than no rules.
What can be done locally? Now we've got, on the internet, certainly Facebook and sites, there are people saying with one legal highs, that's one down, one store to go. What sort of pressure can be applied? Is there any pressure the community can apply to this lone trader that we've got in the city now?
Well, once again, I believe there was a protest last night down at South City, and the people who have organised that protest are still not going to stop because one's been closed down. You've got to remember their argument isn't with just one retailer, it's with the whole government reaction. You know, the fact that 119 politicians says, oh, let's just do it. You know, I mean, how much homework did they do on it? Even before it was legalised, you had local bodies turn in and saying, this is ridiculous, this K2 stuff. And then the government comes up with a policy that you can sell something that has a lower level of harm, but still has the same addiction process to it.
Yeah, Mr. Skill, he still has a licence to wholesale, so he can technically sell his products on to the one lone provider now in the city, and he also has a licence to research.
Yes, I mean, that's the scary part about it. I mean, it's the amount of licences that you can apply for, and it's the way round the law. So, I mean, if the South City is wholesaling to that, or perhaps if somebody sets up a shop in Winton or Gore or wherever, he could actually wholesale that product there.
Our legal power is really limited to being able to control the location of the premises that sell these legal highs, and that's really all we can do. We have two options. Councils can either adopt a draft locally approved products policy, in other words, have a policy that limits or controls where they go, or they can do nothing. And some councils are taking the do nothing option, but Invercargill, Gore and Southland District have prepared this draft combined policy. Basically, they've said at a council level this issue is important to us and we want to try, some controls better than no control effectively.
It's obviously very important to the people too. They are taken to the streets on this issue.
Yeah, very topical, not only in Southland but right throughout the country, and I think what you're seeing is a groundswell of concern about these substances and the effects, both the current effects and who knows what the future effects may be, and that's really manifesting itself in the level of protest that's happening at the moment. And certainly when we had a public meeting on this issue in Winton 2 weeks ago, I've been involved in local government a long time. It's one of the biggest turnouts I've seen for a meeting on anything in that period. One thing that will be difficult for us if we get a lot of people requesting that we ban the substances altogether across Southland. We don't currently have that legal control that allows us to do that, but there are some matters throughout in the courts throughout New Zealand on this issue that could be resolved in the near future. So we may have a little bit more direction around what the extent of our control is, and that could influence where the policy goes in the future as well.
And those submissions must be in by the 14th of April. The government's family court reforms are sparking plenty of interest, with traffic to the new Family Justice website increasing fivefold. Reforms have been in effect for just over a week, but on average around 25,000 visitors a day are accessing information on the new Family Justice website, compared to 5,000 a day on the old one. The website provides parents with information needed to reach agreement and links to in-person support available through the Parenting Separation Program and Family Dispute Resolution Mediation. If a person's eligible, they can get free legal advice from the Family Legal Advice Service. A new Family Justice helpline 0800 2AGREE has also been set up. Winton is the proud new owner of a brand new walk track and cycle track that navigates its way around the central Southland township. Something that started as a vision 3 years ago was set to be officially opened this Saturday. Members of the Winton Rotary Club got together to create the 9-kilometre track that travels across 12 different properties and came with an estimated materials cost of around $250,000, but costs could have tripled if it wasn't for donated time. Machinery use has been donated, surveyor and legal consenting costs were reasonable if not free of charge, and the 7 kilometres of fencing all built on donated labour.
It's just a really big thanks to everyone that made it possible, from the landowners to the local business people to all the Winton Rotary members. They just made it all an enjoyable and fun process. But the most exciting part is seeing that it's used so well, and the people are just getting out there and supporting it all the time. It's fantastic.
Fits very well with the national idea of having cycle tracks anywhere in New Zealand.
Yes, we're not quite linked up yet, but the potential is there, and that helped too. I mean, the fact that they're looking at cycle and pathways around the country, it does work very well.
What other things are happening around Winton that the Rotary Club are involved in at the moment?
Oh, look, they've got ongoing projects all the time and always trying to help the young people coming through and what have you, and we're just holding fire to get this one finished before our next one starts.
After the break, bargain books in Winton and the fate of the country's Masonic buildings. Welcome back. New Zealand Freemason Grand Master John Lytton is hopeful Invercargill's 4th Street Masonic building will get the remedial work it's required to meet the minimum earthquake standards. Mr Lytton says the situation's the same up and down the country with ageing Masonic buildings. He says some hard decisions are going to have to be made.
I've got no magic solutions, to be honest with you, and we do have some magnificent building. Invercargill is one particularly, which does need some work to strengthen it to meet the codes. The insurance on it has obviously gone up quite hugely. It would be a shame to see that building go. If you've not been in there, you need to go and have a look at it inside. It's magnificent. But unfortunately, the usage is not there at the moment, both with the masonry, and they do open it up to the public for other reasons. But it's a huge cost, and we're now in the sort of cleft stick about, so what do we do? Do we try and help it? Or do we sort of say, well, it doesn't suit us in this day and age and walk away from it? That would be a shame, because that building's got a lot of love put into it by Freemasons and what is in there, and it'd be a shame to lose that. How we do it, I can't give you a solution at the moment.
A lot of churches, that option that they just won't insure because the building's only inhabited for a few hours a week, is that an option?
It is an option, not one that we're considering at the moment. We're helping out some lodges with that, and of course we insure all of our buildings with one insurance broker, so we do get reasonable prices for our insurance, but nonetheless they've escalated. I mean, some buildings now 100% increases, that sort of thing, because of their age. A lot of them were built in the 1930s, and they're the problem ones, to be honest. Our costs have gone up, our membership's not going up, so we don't get the income from our membership to pay for lots of things. So there's no magic solution, to be honest with you. We're just going to have to sort of work it through with the lodges, like the one in Invercargill. We're just going to have to sit down and sort of work it through and make the decisions after the consulting with the local people as well. So, but it would be a shame to lose a lot of some of our old buildings. Some of them, to be honest with you, aren't worth saving. They're pretty run down and so on. They haven't been managed very well, to be fair. Well-meaning masons, but not property developers or management people. So, and probably they're going to have to go.
Environment Southland want to know of inspiring groups or environmental champions as nominations are open for the 2014 Southland Environment Awards.
Every year, Environment Southland recognises and acknowledges Southland's environmental champions. Anyone who makes a difference to the Southland environment is eligible to be nominated. The categories include individual, farming, schools, community groups, commercial, environmental innovator and environmental achiever. Up to 2 categories can be entered. An Environment Southland spokesperson says the awards are well sponsored and that there are some great prizes for the winning entries, including cash, travel, native plants and legal and financial services. Entries close on Friday 9th of May. Information and entry forms are available from the Environment Southland office on North Road and through their website.
Dozens of students from Centre Bush's Lime Hills Primary School took part in a special recording session over the past few days. Students have been under the musical tutelage of Matthew Salapu, also known as Anonymous, an award-winning musical genius who's in the South courtesy of the New Zealand Music Commission. Students wrote, scripted, sang, played instruments, recorded and mixed an original school song before performing it this afternoon for the whole school.
With a lot of this technology, you don't really need it as a prerequisite. You know, if you've got a passion for music but you can't play an instrument, I mean, a laptop is just as viable a musical instrument these days in the way that you can manipulate sounds and music to it. So there's something for everyone in there, whether it's an instrument or whether it's just utilising these programs. It's all relevant to music production these days.
As far as some other schools and whatnot that you've taught at, they're picking it up just as quickly as everybody else?
Probably one of the quickest. Just explaining, you know, simple musical concepts, they latched onto it quite quickly, like I said, to the point where we started talking about frequencies and decibels and hertz and compression and sound waves. And I see this is quite high level stuff, so they're really talented. School was one of the most talented I've come across in all my workshop careers.
Easter reading options are about to get more affordable, with the Winton Library getting set for the annual book sale this Friday. Up to 2,000 books are being culled from the 9 Southland District libraries this week ahead of the yearly combined book sale. Winton's Memorial Hall will be bursting with novels, children's books and biographies, as well as a number of stalls with community groups taking part in a pop-up market. Books are withdrawn from sale based on their age and condition, lending rates and interest before being sold for a nominal fee. Deselected stocks replaced with new books each year to maintain a range of current quality books. And that's it from the news desk this Wednesday. Next on Sport, post-reaction following the Sharks' recent loss to the Nuggets. From the news team, good night.